immediate clearance of the pending salaries and retirement dues is a key demand that these workers have put forward, and failure to have met those is of course what has triggered the violent clashes that we saw today in Noida. We are now going to take a look at how these protests really began, what triggered them in the first place, the origins of the workers' protest. On the 3rd of April, there was a flashpoint at the HMSR. Thousands had gathered at Honda Motorcycle and Scooter India plant in IMT in Manesar. This was on the 3rd, so 10 days ago, and they demanded minimum wage hike, and wages are failing to match the rising living cost is what these workers are citing as primary concerns. Early in April, of course, the protest they spread across the belt. Agitation began in Gurugram industrial hub, and then the protest spread to multiple companies, and workers from the richer global also joined in, starting from Honda motorcycle unit. And then on the 6th of April, there was a call for a strike. Over a dozen companies announced strikes. The dozens of employees in these companies went on a strike, and temporary workers also joined in large numbers to gain momentum and strength to these protests taking place. Then on 7th of April and until the 10th of April, there were clashes that took place, and there was crackdown as well on protesters by the police. Section 163 was imposed in IMT Manesar, and police of course had to resort to lathi charge. Vehicles were torched, and there were reports that were emerging from there. 56 workers were identified and arrested in IMT Manesar, and CCTV footage was of course used to track those accused. Manesar unrest of course now becoming the point of origin of these protests that are now in Noida and the NCR largely speaking. So broadly, that's the sequence of how these protests began and the primary demands of the working class people there. Let's in fact discuss this with our guests. I'm joined in by retired Brigadier Vinod Datta, defense expert. I also have Ikrant Sharma, advocate Supreme Court, and former Delhi DCP Ellen Rao with me in the discussion. Thank you all for joining us and for patiently waiting with us through the reportage. I want to come to you first, of course, Mr. Rao. We were speaking earlier some time ago. Do you see the situation resorting to some sort of calm in the next few hours, or is it only going to escalate now?
Good evening, ma'am. Definitely, we have already discussed about it, and the situation seems to be under control as stated by the Noida police. Maybe some negotiations might be going on with the workers, and their demands are to be considered sympathetically, because their demands are definitely seems to be reasonable, and that's why. But one thing is to be noted, that any bad element which have been emerged in this agitation, definitely they may hijack this agitation towards the violence, and it is also reported that some violence activities have also been reported. Those violence activities will not be tolerated by the police at all, and as you already said, that DGP Law and Order has categorically said that this violence is not at all can be tolerated here in Noida, and if there are something to be discussed, they should discuss on table, and if need be, when the section 163 may also be imposed if the situation is not going under control. But as of now, it is reported that the situation is quite under control. The police is taking appropriate action, and being the notorious persons who seems to be the bad elements in that crowd, they are being identified, and I think they are being rounded up so that there should not be any further explanation in the situation. So, and the police also has taken action about the arson and the damage to the public property. That they have registered a case, and then the investigation will be started as soon as possible. The miscreants and the criminals who has done all these things, they are being identified, and the police will take action against them. This message has also been sent to the agitating workers, and I think after getting this message, there is some sort of peace and calm in this situation, ma'am.
All right, sure. Mr. Rao, thank you very much for speaking to us. Requested to continue being with me through the broadcast. Let's, in fact, also go across to Advocate Ikran Sharma, who's there with us in the discussion here. Advocate, thanks for joining us. Firstly, has there any petition been filed so far by the protesters over their demands that you know of?
Thank you very much for giving me a time. But my thing is the problems which we are facing and which we are watching. The problem is pertaining to the workers. And if we go through the records, rather, that UP, if we confine about the UP, the Minimum Wages Act, there are three categories in this thing. Well, one is unskilled labor, there is skilled labor, and there is semi-skilled labor. If we talk about UP, the agitation is basically was taking place in Noida, and the workers, those who are agitating it pertaining to this issue is that all the three categories, the Minimum Wages Act is very low as compared to Delhi, as compared to Haryana, as compared to Rajasthan. Now, there is a huge difference. They are talking about, if we compare the Minimum Wage Act of UP with Delhi, there is 7,000 rupees gap. And if we compare it for Haryana, there are at least 6,000, 5,000 rupees gap. Now, the thing is the benefits and the gap, what they are facing, they are agitating against that. First thing. Second thing is about the infrastructure. As Noida has been developing and the whole of the industries are going over there, Greater Noida there. So there are so many demands and of the workers, and all the people are going over there for their livelihood. Now the point is that whether there is an infrastructure over there or not. About if we talk about the women's the workplace, the whatever cruelties are being done or whatever things are to be done, whether they are following the legal provisions, the labor laws followed. The only no schemes are there, and that's the only reason the agitation is taking place. Now we need to focus only on that in this thing, that all the industry should focus on the benefits, should give the benefits to the laborers, and the infrastructure should be there. They should have a good environment, and they are demanding about the height. Now the thing is, the second aspect of this thing is the Minimum Wages Act, what they are getting. But what they are getting, what they are supposed to get, they are not getting it because that is only on papers. The raids are being conducted, the inquiries are being conducted, there are no benefits, nothing at all. They are just maintaining their data, and ultimately the poor staff, basically the laborers are suffering. And that's the only reason now the laborers are coming on the roads. Now, the government has to see, there has to be a parallel track pertaining to the Minimum Wages Act. As per the law, labor law, whatever the benefits are to be given, are to be provided for the laborers. They should be provided to them. If at all these are all things are being conducted or being given to those things, I don't think that there will be any issue. And whatever I have heard about from the laborers, from the news channels is, they are demanding only on those things. The gap, the difference of the Minimum Wages Act from Delhi or the other neighboring states of UP. They are on a higher side. If we talk about Haryana, can you believe the higher one is they are getting 19,000 rupees, and in UP they are getting 13,000 rupees. So there is a huge difference, 6,000 rupees of difference. Now the thing is, now they are not getting the benefits of the overwork. So they are demanding for the labor. Now the government should think about it if they wanted to resolve it. Though it can be resolved by the police also, the security agencies also, but if they just wanted to settle it, there has to be a policy so that they can have the better footing, better place, and better environment for them, and better wages for them.
All right, sure. I also want to check with you, Advocate, what are the legal challenges that these workers will face in, in their attempt to meet their demands if they start now?
Now the thing is, the labor, the person, those who is getting the minimum wages act, and he is not getting that amount also, what he is going to go for the legal remedy. And we also know about it, that Supreme Court says, Honorable Court says about that the justice should be provided at the doorstep. But this is where I think everybody will appreciate that for getting the justice, you need to pay for that. You need to go to the court. You need to get engage a good lawyer. And the procedures are so lengthy that these laborers, the workers, they can't afford it. Now the government has to think about it. The government has to think that there has to be transparency. Why there's a discrimination between one state to other state? The government has to decide. Even if we talk about the Minimum Wages Act, though they have the right, the people are having the right, the laborers are having the right, even the workers are having the right. And when they were not getting all those things, that's the only reason they are going for the education.
All right, stay on with me, Advocate, and our other guests. I request you also to